Hi, this is Mark Littleton, the minister of the Word for the Athens Church of Christ, with today's 3-minute sermon. This, of course, is a very significant week for many in our world, as we're turning our attention this week, many of us, to the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. It is no understatement to say that the linchpin of Christianity, really the centerpiece of the Christian faith, is that Jesus came back from the dead and that his tomb today is empty. That's what we place our faith in, that we serve a risen Lord who gave his life for our sins and came back to life again for our eternal redemption. We're going to be talking about the resurrection of Jesus a little bit later this week, but what I want you to think about with me today for just a few minutes is this. Before Jesus rose from the dead and before he won that victory over sin and death and the grave, there are a lot of other things that happened to Jesus that led to that resurrection. His week began with the triumphal entry into the city of Jerusalem, as many were lauding him as the king that they were looking for, but they didn't understand who Jesus really was or what he came to do. As the week proceeded, we see Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane as he is in deep agony, begging his Father that if there's some other way to purchase the redemption of the world other than him going to the cross, that God would do that. And yet Jesus is willing to bow his will to his Father's will. And he says, yet not my will be done, but your will be done. We see him in agony in the garden. We see him arrested. We see him go through the mockery of a trial, which in every way was against the law that the Jews lived under in their day. We see him brutally beaten. We see him crucified. We see him deserted by many of those who were following him. And we just see what looks like defeat. From the garden to the trials to the cross, it looks like Jesus has lost. It looks like the battle is over. Now we know, looking back, the resurrection happened on the third day, right? And he won the victory. But at the time, if you'd looked at that, you'd thought, man, this is not going to end well. Here's the thought I want to challenge you with today. What's going on in your life right now? What's happening in your life? You may step back and look at it and go, it doesn't look good, Mark. Things are not coming together the way I thought. It looks like right now I am losing. It looks like I am defeated. Here's my challenge to you today, friend. Is it possible God has a bigger picture than just what you can see when you look at this snapshot of your life right now? Is it possible that all of this is heading somewhere? Is it possible that God is wanting to accomplish something in your life that's bigger than just this moment? Is it possible that victory is just around the corner for you, and maybe you don't see it right now? The resurrection says that's very well possible. See, here's what God's goal is for your life today. It's bigger than your comfort. It's bigger than this moment that you're living in. God's goal for each of us is to have a relationship with us, and God is going to work in our lives to bring us to that point, to get us to where he wants us to be. And sometimes that's going to be painful. And sometimes it may not look like we would want it to look, but God has a bigger purpose than what's happening in the moment. So, don't get caught up in what's happening right now, my friend. Look to the bigger purpose that God might have and ask, God, what are you trying to accomplish in all this? How are you trying to help me to know you better and draw closer to you through what's happening in my life right now? Lord willing, we'll see you again later this week for another 3-minute sermon. God bless.